My name is Monica Henderson, and today I want to know, are you feeling like respect is going out of style? Well, if you feel that way, then today is your show. We're going to help you maximize your business by supporting those humans as resources. Let's get started. Welcome to the show. I wanted to say, hey, if you are watching this right now, you are a co host. So don't forget to join the conversation by leaving a comment in the chat. And who else is on the couch? Well, I am hanging out with two of my favorite people in the world. It is your archangel of business, Angeline, and Mr. Drop the Mic himself, Andrew Marsh. And we are going to be helping you understand how to get that respect in the workplace. So, to start off our conversation today, we are going to dive into the question: how has respect been a factor in your entrepreneurial journey? And I'm going to start today with Andrew. Andrew, go ahead and drop that mic for us.
How has respect been? I think it's always there, Monica, because you have to have self-respect. If you're not serious about what you do and you're not serious about yourself and your credentials, you're starting from a position of no hope. So you have to have self-respect. And the other connections that you make in your business, because it's all about the connections that we make, you have to be respectful of those people and those institutions and those bodies and the teams that you build, whether they're directly part of your team that you work with and money changes hands, or whether they're part of your support network or the team that you use your mentors, people like that. They become part of this little group that you build, and I call it a mastermind group. And respect is very much part and parcel of that, because they will have a skill that you don't have, and you will have a skill that they don't have. So the way that it works is you all share what your knowledge, share the benefit of your experience, so that you help each other, so that you help them build their business, they help you build your business, and you do that for positions of respect and trust. And that is the way to build long-term committed relationships with teams around you, which will push you forward into whatever you do as the actual what the business is that you do, that's your own business, but you're still supporting and respecting those others in your team.
You know, it's super true. And that journey of respect in the workplace does require everyone to kind of allow space for others to be in who they are and bring that to the table in order for it to be successful. I'm going to ask you another question after this, Andrew. But before I get into that, Angeline, how has respect been a factor in your entrepreneurial journey?
Okay, so to start with, one of the things as I got into my entrepreneurial path is that I had to define my values. I knew what they were before, but they had to be now sharp and crisp. So when you're working in corporate, you actually use the values for the corporate business, but no, my brand is who I am, and respect is actually one of my values. And so it's actually very, very critical, because especially when you're engaging people, and we're going to meet people who are different to start with in so many different ways. And so we have to have respect for that difference. In terms of respect for people's views and respect for when you're speaking with a prospect and they may reject your offer, and you have to respect that. So it's very important, and it's one of those guiding points on my compass in my entrepreneurial journey. Just making sure that there is respect no matter what, no matter what the differences are and what the outlook is.
Oh yeah. I, you know, when I was kind of on my just my life journey, one of the things that I had spent a lot of time doing was kind of deciding or deciphering kind of like what is the different religions, and stick with me. I know we're talking
Mhm.
about respect, right? But when I was coming up and I was trying to figure out what was my soul language and religion, I spent a lot of time in Borders bookstore, and Borders doesn't exist anymore. And I was a poor student, so I sat in the religion section and I read a bunch of books. And I read a bunch of books about different religions and different teachings and all those things. And when I finished reading the different books about all the major world religions. Oh, guys. Oh, well, if you weren't awake before, you're definitely awake
That's
now.
real life. Real life.
It's real life. But like I was saying, each of those books really kind of boiled down to the same thing. When all was said and done, regardless of the rituals and the things that are kind of put into place to study those, in the end, it all boiled down to this concept of respect and
Mhm.
reverence of each thing, each person, place, and thing that you are in energy exchange with, and allowing it to be as is good enough,
Mhm.
right? Good enough as is. And I think in a lot of ways, if we can pull that, if I when I pulled that into my own life, like, okay, well, if I let anybody and everyone and everything be enough as is, then I will be giving it the respect that it needs. And I will honor it in that way. And so for my journey into this entrepreneurial space, it's really been about kind of respecting everyone as they are. They are perfect as they are. They are
Yeah.
unique as they are. And there are some exchanges and energy in alchemy that happens when we come together that gives a change on both of our sides. But I'm not here to change
Mhm.
anyone or to make them more me or to make them something else. I am instead here to kind of create an alchemy or a chemistry with them so that we both unfold as a better version of ourselves and that we're
Mhm.
better off through that. And so for me, that respect is so deep. It starts so deeply rooted, but um, when we get to understand it in that deep level, then magic happens. Like
Mhm.
absolute magic happens when you bring that respect forward. So when Andrew was talking and he was giving us some drop the mic hints, as always, because Andrew is forever dropping the mic. I mean, we low key need to have pillows stacked around because that mic drops so often. But Andrew, I had curious, was there a time in this process of you becoming an entrepreneur that you personally felt like you either got the respect that you always deserve or you wish you had more respect in that process?
That's a difficult one. I think there have always been times when um, it's been difficult to get on with certain people. That's just the nature of life. And it wasn't until am trying to answer your question. It wasn't until I realised I had Asperger's syndrome was to where my place in the puzzle of community, of the puzzle of connecting with people and being part of groups was that was the thing that was missing was the understanding of me having Asperger's syndrome, being neurodivergent, and that has helped me understand who I am, and so I'm more comfortable in my own skin, um, knowing that I have Asperger's, and it actually makes a sense of an awful lot of things. But I think it's helped me build relationships with others in a better way because um, they might be different to me in whatever shape or form that is, different ideologies, political beliefs, religion, whatever it may be. They'd be different to me, and because I kind of sat outside the norm, if that word ever exists, what is normal, I became more tolerant of other people and more
Mm,
respecting of other people because they were different. And I'm thinking, well, I was treated this way because I was different. I don't want to do that to other people. I want to be more respectful of them, because they might be different in their own way, in whatever way, shape, or form that is. So it has taught me, being identified as neurodiverse with Asperger's syndrome, has taught me about myself, but it's also taught me to be more respectful of others in whatever realm they are. And I just want to say this in case I don't get a chance to say it later on. We've got to a place in our society, whether that's our local community, national or international, where just because we have a different view, a different opinion from someone, it shouldn't make them our enemy. We should be allowed, and we should understand and accept that we can have a different point of view from someone, a different value, a different opinion, and they are not our mortal enemy. We have to get away from this. I don't like your opinion, therefore I'm going to go stack up with some guns and start shooting people.
yeah.
I know that's a very extreme example, but we,
No, it's not that
if,
extreme these days.
if if you look at a world map, we've got situations going on in the world where
Yeah,
people have different points of view, and there are people in wartime conflict because of those differences. We
yeah,
we need to we need to talk things through. Respect other people's point of view, talk things through, find the commonality. If you can build from the commonality and the sameness and things that are the same with other people, then you can build from that rather than focusing on the difference.
yeah. Which brings us to our next question, really, which is how does not understanding I'm sorry, why why is it important to have respect for and from your team? Like if we pull it back into the workplace, right? What Andrew was saying is these differences in opinion, right? And people are completely disregarding other people because we don't have the same views. You voted for this person and I voted for that person. You believe that this is okay and I believe that that is not okay. You believe that, pink is pink and I believe pink is green, right? Like just really just polarizing things that are really kind of perception oriented. Why is it important to have that respect for your people as well as from your people? And I'm gonna start with Angeline first this time.
All right. So in the workplace, it's actually very important. I wanted to make a point just coming from the first coming in my own business and respect. So when you're in my original workplace, my corporate, people know what you can do and they know who you are, and you automatically, assuming that you have done your job well, that you have the respect. And it's actually a wake-up call when you come into the big wide world. Nobody knows what your history is, what you have done, and it's like starting all over again to get respect. So bring it back to the workplace. So it's about that moral boost in the workplace to make people feel like they have a say, they have a part in the outcome of the business. And it's important to build morale, positive relationships, and important that we ensure that everybody has a say, and that's part of the respect in whenever decisions. And it doesn't matter, you include is, there are some decisions that at a certain level, but as much as you can include your staff in input, especially the things that are going to affect them directly, and that's a part of respect. So respect is moral boosting, it's positive, and it makes people feel like they have a part of the business. They are not there just as a worker to do stuff. They are part of the business, and we all care. We care for each other. We care for your views, your thoughts, but also we also have to respect when the decision goes against what we wanted. We also have to respect that and respect authority.
Yeah, I always say If you don't speak up and say how you're feeling, you'll never get fed, right? But when you do speak up and you say what you're feeling, and it doesn't actually go your way, you've done everything you could possibly do,
Right.
and at that point, you gotta support it. I 100% agree with you on that. Andrew, did you want to chime in on what Angeline was saying, like
Yeah,
the support from you and also respect from you and your team?
yeah. I think Angeline hit it on the head there. It's about building relationships, about leadership um, with you and your team. Self leadership is important, but your team will only go so far in delivering what you have in your business, and then they will get to a point where they think, do you know what? I'm not getting respected for this. I'm putting in all these hours, putting in all this hard work, giving my opinions, and I'm just hitting the brick wall. They will then back off so that come that time when you need someone, need the team to just, put that little bit extra in to get something out, they're not going to do it for you. Or they'll
Right.
just walk away, say, it's 5 o'clock on Friday, I'm going. Cheerio.
Mhm.
Because you've not built the rapport and the team, exactly what Angeline was saying, and you have lost. Once that happens, you have lost the respect of your team, and it's very, very difficult to get that back. So yes, it's about morale, but it's about understanding who your people are and what their motivation is, and
Mhm.
finding the right way to manage that person. And it might be that you have to manage different people in your team in a different way because they respond differently to different stimulus, different ways of doing things. Look, take my example of someone with Asperger's syndrome. We might not respond in the same way as the other members of the team to a certain instructions or a certain way of being presented something. We might not get it if it's not in a certain way that ticks our boxes and we can relate to and understand. So you have to be able to say, yes, I understand that I've got this, but I need to do it differently for Andrew and people like Andrew because they see the world in a different way. So I have to relate to them in a different way while still keeping the team as a coherent unit in the workplace. So it's really important to find what it is that motivates your staff, what it is that how you can best communicate with them so that you can then deliver something that is good quality within your teams to your clients or your customers. So that if the respect isn't there, they're not going to put that effort in. The key thing to that is when they do put the effort in and you do get that thing out by 5 o'clock on Friday and it goes well and you get great feedback from your client the following week, for heaven's sake, share that with your team.
Yep.
Don't keep it.
Yes. Yes.
Share it with your team. Say, hey guys, we got a great phone call. I got a great phone
Yes.
call at 10 o'clock this morning from the client. They're really happy with it. Thank you for what you've done. And that appreciation to your team is so important because
Mhm.
it will then develop the relationship, build the rapport, just like Angeline was saying. But then those employees will feel valued.
Mhm.
And there is nothing better as an employee than feeling valued. Yes, you want a paycheck at the end of it and you want a bigger one the next month when the rewards come through. But to feel valued at a personal level and as a team level is so important. And that's where when you've got the respect of your team and you share that and you communicate with them in the proper way, that's when your team gels and that's where the magic happens.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Before you started talking, the two words that popped in my head was, well, how do you show someone you respect them? And that in the two things that came in my head was appreciation and value, right? When we respect something, we value it. We want it to, it gets put, how, I don't know, when you were a kid and you like had your clothes thrown on the floor and your parent come in. Oh, so you don't respect all the hard work I put into you those clothes? Get those clothes off the floor. You got to show them what respect. And I don't think as kid I really understood that concept in that way, but as an adult I now understand, if I respect something or someone, then I am going to value it in a way that shows that I respect it. And so I think that concept of when you feel not valuable to someone, you feel
Mhm.
disrespected. Even if the words that they're saying are nice, even if they have a cordial disposition, shit, even if they're just like, oh, hi, bye, thank you. There, all of the politeness, right? Like one of the things that I have to kind of talk to my kids about sometimes is like, just because you said it in a nice way doesn't mean it was nice, right? Like,
Mhm.
like just because you're using nice words does not mean what you said was nice. And so, kind of really kind of honoring it, like identifying, like if I didn't have this person, I would have to do all of the work that they're doing myself. I should probably value my time and theirs and respect them more so that they want to do that work for me. And so, love this conversation. We are going to, obviously, it's our 20 minutes and we're already behind schedule. So I'm just going to move on. Okay. How does understanding respect affect your team's productivity? So, how does it affect their productivity when we kind of don't understand how to respect people? And we're going to start with let's continue with you, Andrew. Why don't you go next?
It's very simple. If you don't have the respect and you're not communicating that respect with your team, you're not going to get the productivity. You'll get, I'll do this much, and I'll go home at 5 o'clock on Friday or 5 o'clock today. That's all you're going to get because I'm not respected. So what's the point in me putting in the extra effort? What's the point of me being there and doing it if I'm just picked up and put down just like a, a, a brick in the corner of the room? If there's no respect for me, then what's in it for me? You have to have the sense of belonging to that team. And if you're just a commodity rather than a valued team member, then people aren't going to put the effort in. They're not going to be respecting you as the leader, and the communication breaks down. Things will fail. You'll get blame culture that will come in very much. Oh, that wasn't my responsibility. That was his fault, or that was your fault, and everyone washes their hands of it and say it wasn't me. It's not in my job description. That, and people will then defend their little part of the empire or their little part of their thing, but they'll defend that to the hilt. But they won't go out of their way to support the next person who's helping them with it. They'll just say, "No, it's not my job. I'm not doing that." So your team doesn't gel. You don't have harmony, and everything falls apart. You get piecemeal work, you get bitty work, you get work that someone has to chase up, you get work that someone has to try and put the pieces together because it's not coherent, and you don't get good, reliable work happening within your team, and there's no respect within the team, and that comes through in how that's projected, and you get bitterness, and you get incriminations, and you get finger pointing, all the negative aspects of things that you can think of in a dynamics of a work environment. That all happens because they're not respected and they're not valued.
It's so true. Most people are turned into the favorite radio station. What is it? WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Mhm.
Where
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, okay, I hear you talking. Where's the benefit for me? Where's the benefit for me? I think we all tune into that. So that makes complete sense. Thank you, Andrew. Angeline, do you want to piggyback off of what he's saying?
Yeah. Okay. So while you were speaking, Monica, I the word authentic came to me, genuine. And as you asked that question, I thought about, when we want them, our team members to do, or ourselves, the team, something that we have to do really special and extra. And we then start to show respect or pretend, it's probably sounding good, but it's not coming from a place of really being authentic. And that is important because you know people will do their jobs, and we ask them to do a little extra at times, and then we put in that little extra whatever sugar in the respect. And that, I think, is so wrong because people can see that a mile away. And so it's important that we show respect all the time, not just when we want a little more and we want something special to be done. And so overall, as we have accepted that once we show respect and value, then our team will be likely to be more productive. But when we want that extra special, so we put that extra special respect in, it's really not something that works well at all. In fact, it has a bigger negative impact than we can imagine.
Yeah, the the place that I like to be when I'm kind of coming from this, like I am the leader of a team space, is I'm going to lead with your goals in mind, right? And if I lead with your goals in mind, what your desires are, and I'm coming from a place of contribution on how I can help you, then when I ask for anything, it would be,
Mm-hmm.
of course, anything for you. You've helped me so much. And I think a lot of the times when we get into these leadership roles, we sometimes really only focus on what our needs are and what we're trying to get out of the situation, and we forget that other people have their own needs. And that's where I think, where Angeline, you're talking about, it's like, oh, you're nice when you want me to do something for you,
Right.
but then beforehand, you didn't care about me at all. And I think that's probably where we can shift that, right? If you are shifting your energy to knowing the people on your team and what their desires are and where they want to go, and then aligning the work that you have for them or with them to help them get to their goals, and speaking to that through the entire time, like, hey, we're going to help each other get there. And kind of and make it about a team, right? Like even their goals is a teamwork effort. It's not just
Right.
my goals as a teamwork effort,
Mm-hmm.
but it's your goal as a teamwork effort too.
Exactly.
Like, you're on my team, I'm on yours. You want to get to Hawaii? I want you to go to Hawaii. Let's figure out how we can get there, right? But if you can kind of come from that space of like that true support of like, a, if you're happy and
Mhm.
we can collectively get to our goals, then people are more likely to keep rocking with you and keep more likely to give you more, and are more likely to kind of stay that extra hour, or put in the extra time, or even go like over deliver on what they said they were going to give you, because they're so passionate about you and helping you because you were so passionate about helping them. And I think that's really kind of, as someone who also sat on the outside of society, like Andrew, that was one of the things that I noticed, is that, like, for people who give, much is given, right? But you got to be a giver to get that kind
Mhm.
of abundance. But if you are not ever in the position to give, but you're only like waiting there with your hand out, like, okay, who's going to help me next?
Yeah,
It does
exactly.
make it kind of like leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, to help you. They don't feel like they're going to be respected in that exchange, and they'll do just what they're asked to do, and they'll walk away. So producers telling us we got to move on because we've been talking a whole lot, but we have a user who really chimed in on the chat, so we definitely had to look at this. If you are not respected and validated, you can spend a lot of energy and time wondering why, dash and make up stories in your mind about why you are unliked, not doing something well, being there, not telling you, am I gonna get fired? Am I gonna dot dot dot, etc. I mean, it's a long post, so you definitely want to go and read the chats for it. But it's so true, right? Like, people get all in their heads when you're not
Mhm.
actually showing them respect. Then they
Yeah.
think, well, is it me? Is it something I did? And they're gonna want to go. And so I have all sorts of stories go through the mind, which make you less productive. Thank
Mhm.
you, Facebook user. I don't know what your name is, but thank you for chiming in with that. That is so true. So true, that like people start, if you don't give them the information that they need, they will make up the difference. And if you're not giving them that support, right? Like,
Mhm.
they'll go from A to B, right? Like, okay, well, you didn't tell me why you're not talking to me right now, that you're stressed or whatever it is. You just stopped talking to me. So I figured you hated me and this, that, or the other. And they just get flowery with these stories, right? But if you're telling them along the way, kind of like, here's what's going on, here's how much I appreciate you, here's how much I love
Mhm.
you, then they'll follow those dots instead of the big gaping gaps that you left if you're not sharing with it. All right, so it's that time. It's time for us to keep networking. And here at MinkLife Motivation, we are always talking about really networking is not about like passing out that card, but asking for help. So, who should you ask when you are trying to build strong connections? Who should you ask for help? Who wants to go first? Angeline, you laugh, so you
Okay,
first.
yeah, I'm laughing. So it's coach or mentors. There are two different roles, but depend on who is in your life. But it definitely has to be someone that you trust, because you have to be very open and honest with somebody that you can be really be genuine with, and say what exactly is happening, because the persons who understand best what is happening are best able to help. So I would say coach or mentor.
Okay, okay. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. The other group that I would use is a mastermind group, which mentioned earlier on, because they're part of your inner circle. They're people who are very supportive to you because you're supportive to them. And if you feel vulnerable about something and you can open up to them and say, look, I'm weak in this area. This is my weak point, my weak spot. Can you help me out with this? Because I'm no matter how many times I've looked at it, I just can't get my head around it. And if you're vulnerable and you have the respect from the others, they're not going to sit there and ridicule you. They're going to support you, and they're going to give you the benefit of their experience and their wisdom, and they're going to help you move you forward. And if they don't know the answer, they'll tell you, but they will
Yeah.
surely know someone else that they can trust and respect to recommend to you. So a mastermind group is another very good way of keeping your network close, understanding the skills of those people, and calling on them, because they will call on you, and
Mhm.
that's where your mutual respect, mutual trust comes in.
Oh yeah. By the way, Ronnie was the person who chimed in. So thank you, Ronnie, a friend to the show. She was actually on the show a couple weeks ago or last week. I don't know, whenever that was, a few shows ago. So thank you for your comment. I really appreciate you. I'm going to absolutely say the people in the Minkubator, and I know that's like a shameless plug because those are like my people, but let me tell you, they have your back. And Angeline will tell you, you will get your butt kicked and your back rubbed at exactly the same time. Right. And I think when you can get into a space where people are okay for all the versions of you to show up, right?
Yes.
The brilliant minds and the ones who are like clueless, like I am absolutely clueless about this. I'm brilliant about this, clueless about this. And you can allow yourself to be vulnerable in all
Mhm.
of the things in between. It really does help you start building connections with other people. And so by having a group of people to practice on, like my friends in the Minkubator who hang out in the office and we're all like, I'm like, I'm stupid. I don't know what this means. Can you help me out? Um, by having those kinds of people to practice on, I notice for myself when I go out to talk to people that I don't know, I'm vulnerable already. I have been in practice of being kind of open and
Mhm.
honest and transparent and clear about like, this is who I am. This is what's happening with me. This is what I know. This is what I don't know. I get to be more curious without having a lot of that like self doubt and like, oh, well, I have to show up as the expert here because someone's going to not respect me in this way. I think anybody who gets loved wholly in that way gets the opportunity to then play in that space all the time. That confidence grows. So I think hang out in a community like masterminds, or you can kind of come and hang out with us in the Minkubator, and really practice being in that space of both vulnerability and support of others, and kind of giving that exchange in connection. And from there, it makes it substantially easier to be able to build those connections. So shameless plug, I know, but I can't help it. Like Angeline, like her and I'm driving in the car. We're having a conversation,
Yes.
having a
That's
conversation
right.
about what we're
That's
working through.
right.
And it's nice. It's really nice to have people who you can talk to like that. So okay, so we are like kind of headed towards that like no man's land, but it's that time. It's the last question of the day, which is, what is your final thought on maximizing your business through team building? So give your final thought, and Mr. Drop the Mic, we'll let you go first this time.
Maximize your business through team building. Choose your team wisely and respect them.
Look at that. Drop the mic, baby. I love it. You guys should come to the conferences because like he has so many one-liners. So awesome. We have so much fun with him. Okay, Angeline, your turn. Final thought. How do you maximize?
Yes, I would say know your team members individually and collectively. Know what's makes their heart sing, what bring tears to them, what moves them, because what motivates one doesn't motivate the other, and it's important to understand your team members.
And I would actually say my final thought is give trust before you are trusted. A lot of the times we want people to respect us, and we want them to trust us, but we don't trust anyone else. And the best way to model what you are looking for is by like to get what you're looking for is by modeling it. So
Mhm.
give trust to people, and allow them to shine, and support them in trying to shine. And in exchange, they will trust you and they will help you shine even more. So give before you get. That's my big final thought. This has been such a fun show, and you two know, like we could all kind of hang like for hours because we've done it in several conferences together, talking about all the things. But unfortunately, that is not what this place is. This is not the space. So we're going to talk about announcements. How can people get connected with you? How can people get connected with you? And what would you like them to do? So we're going to start with Angeline. Give us your announcement.
Okay. Hi. So, as your business archangel, I walk the path with you with my wings of passion and empathy to support you on your personal and professional upliftment. So, I'm on a gratitude journey in these coming to the end of the year. So, I prepared an e-magazine that I'm gifting for free, and so the link will be shown somewhere. Download my free ebook. And it is just look at ampgbusiness.com. So ampgbusiness.com /specials. I'm not seeing it shown here, but or just look up Angeline Gillings on LinkedIn or on Facebook. Send me a message and I will share the link with you. Thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll get that. We'll make sure we drop that in the chat so it lands everywhere. And Andrew, how can people get connected with you?
Thank you. I'm on LinkedIn. You can get me at Andrew F. Marsh on LinkedIn. You also can get me on my website, which is aspergersmatters.com, and my email, which is andrew@aspergersmatters.com. So if you want to know anything about Asperger's syndrome in the workplace, then please feel free to get in touch. I'd love to have a consultation with you and see how I can help you better manage people like me who have Asperger's in the workplace, because they've got great skills. Just need to find out what it is that makes them tick and put the right things, steps in place to get the best from them, and you'll be amazed at what they can do.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to say that if you like hearing me talk, or you want to share what you got going on, the impact that you're creating in your world, your zone of genius, I would love to hear from you. So feel free to go to my website, monicamhenderson.com, and book a call. I got 20 minutes for anybody. So just go on and pop on there, sign up, and let's have a chat and figure out how we can create some impact in the world together. Mwahaha, co-conspirators in changing the world. So that's me. And in our community, we are always looking for amazing heart-centered business owners who are thought leaders, change makers, coaches, and experts to be a part of our community. And we have an amazing membership where you get 6 days a week of co-working, 18 hours a day. In certain time zones, it's a little less, but it's okay. We have 4 action planning courses that have 4 workbooks to go along with it. You have discounts on MinkLife University events and lectures. You have you get featured in an article. You'll get an opportunity to have access to our private community where you can message these really cool people because they're there. You should be there. If you're not there, you should be there. And then also, you are able to speak on our global conferences, be a co-host on the live show, and also on the podcast. And discounts on other member partners. And we just added another membership perk, which means that you'll have access to 180 networking events a month. It's crazy for only $79 a month. So you definitely want to sign up and join us in the Mingle community. Also, if you want to be on the show, we let anybody pop in at least once. So come on in, join the conversation. You can do it from your couch every week, or you can be right here with us in Restream so that you can have the conversation out loud instead of typing it. Or you can just come back and visit us next week where we have Peggy MacArthur, who is going to build your brand next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be here or be square. I know those don't really rhyme, so I don't know. But anyway, that is all the announcements that we have for the show. I love you two tremendously. You know that. And I will see y'all around the community. And I will see all the rest of y'all next time I'm on the show. See you later. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Take care.